Hello everyone, my name is Ace. I used to be an officer in a hardcore raiding guild, and this video is part of my beginner tutorial series for WoW Hardcore. This guide is basically a guide for DPSing, mainly focused on dungeons, so if that's something that you're interested in and you want to know a little bit more about it, stay tuned. If you're already a more experienced hardcore player, let me know what you maybe would add to the list. Is there something that you noticed in puck groups that maybe some DPS miss out doing that you would mention to new players to kind of keep aware of? Let's just get into the video. So we're gonna go about 7 general areas plus a few tips specific for some classes. And the first general tip is respect the tank. What do I mean with that? On one hand, let the tank pull. The tank will know what he's capable of what he's comfortable with, so don't pull for the tank. Then also, if you're a DPS that deals a lot of damage, give the tank some time to build up some threat. You definitely want to get a threat meter too, like for example classic threat 2. I do have a video about add-ons where I also go a bit more into detail about that, but you do want to get a threat meter and watch your threat. If you pull aggro, so if you have too much threat and the mob pulls on you and it's not on the tank anymore, do not run away, but run towards the tank. Then we already got now a little bit into threat management. This is really, really important in hardcore. I can just say this again, get yourself an add-on that monitors threat if you want to run dungeons. Because you do want to have a look at your threat, and it's more important in hardcore that you don't overpull on threat than to do the most crazy damage. Because if you overpull on threat, you're gonna die. This is one of the most common reasons why DPS die in the game, because you pull threat from the tank and you're not meant for tanking, you're meant for DPSing, so the boss or too many mobs hit you and you're gonna be dead. What you can do if you now wonder, oh, but should I then just stop DPSing? Yeah, you can sometimes even stop DPSing. If you're on a boss and you see the boss, your threat is climbing up and up and up on the threat meter, and you realize oh, I'm gonna pull threat from the boss, you can either just auto attack a little bit if you're not too close, or you just stop attacking for a few seconds and let the tank get some threat back. Especially if you're new to the game and you don't know which bosses hit how hard or which mechanics they have, rather be a little bit extra careful than, over aggroing a boss that you maybe didn't know could one-shot you, for example. So the most common markers are skull and X. Skull means this is the target that you have to prioritize. So if the tank pulls these two, you're gonna focus the skull, and then afterwards you're gonna focus the X, except if the tank tells you something else, but that is generally the thing. And then we have moon, which is important for mages specifically. Moon usually means sheep. So if there's a moon up, that means the tank wants you, if you're a mage, to sheep the target. And also for the other DPSs, if there's a sheep, like a moon up, don't put your dots on them, so don't do damage over times on them, because if the mage then sheeps the target and there's a damage over time on it, it's just gonna break out of sheep. So make sure to not use, let's say these were close together and you're DPS and one of them is supposed to get sheep, don't use your AoEs on this target, but make sure you only hit the ones that are not gonna be sheeped. So this is the basics about targets, target markers. So skull is their main focus, X is the secondary focus, and moon means it should be sheeped. What to prioritize? It obviously depends on the mobs and the situation. If you want a general rule to follow, what to prioritize, it would be healers first, because obviously they can heal. And then it might often be casters, especially in earlier dungeons, but not necessarily. So something you can do, an add-on that can maybe help you with gaining some understanding for that, is bestiary, which is an add-on that lets you see which type of abilities mobs have. So if you see there's maybe a mob that can fear, that can get dangerous for your group, so you want to take that mob out more quickly, or you see there's a mob that does a big ground AoE stun, for example, okay, this is also dangerous, let's maybe focus on that. So if the tank doesn't communicate with target markers or in chat or Discord, wherever you are, what you should prioritize, then try to go for the targets that seem most likely to deal you know, danger to the group. And yeah. Oh yeah, and another thing to focus as a DPS, focus the runners. Runners can be so dangerous because they can get the situation out of control. The next very important thing is communication. If you're new to hardcore, even if you played classic before, just communicate with the people that you're new to this. So when you join up for a group, just let them know like, hey, I haven't played in a while, or hey, I'm a bit new to hardcore. Please let me know important mechanics before the boss fights, if there's something I should watch out for. If you play a class that maybe can DPS, but you also could heal or you also could get aggro, then it's expected from you that you do that if a situation gets out of hand. If you see the healer gets aggro and has some mobs on them and you're a warrior DPS in the group, support your tank, pick up these ads that are on the healer and get the threat away from the healer. You know, if you're a DPS and you see there's a lot of damage incoming right now and the healer's make sure that you use your off heals, like, or the heals that you have to like help the healer out and heal and keep the group alive. It's not just expected that you DPS, but this is hardcore, so it's expected that you know your tools, like know your skills, train also your off-spec skills, some of them at least, and then be able to use them and to apply them. Then the fourth thing on the list is positioning. This should be very intuitive, but if you're a ranged DPS, position yourself further away so you don't get damaged by maybe some AoEs that are closer to the tank. And if you're melee DPS, try to position yourself usually behind the character's back so that you don't get into like any cleaves or cone DPS abilities of the mobs. And the same thing, like I mentioned before, it's an important thing. If you pull threat, go towards the tank. Don't run away from the tank. Always go towards the tank. And also consider where you are in the dungeon. Like, it's important that you have awareness of what's going on around you. You can't just blindly follow. So if you see there's a patrol coming and maybe you're a rogue, for example, you know, try to distract them. Or, you know, you can even, like, if you see someone approaching, you can even sometimes write in chat, pet incoming or something like that. But just make sure that you're positioning yourself so that you don't body pull by accident. And just in general, for every class, know your toolkit and apply it. Like, it's not just about pumping numbers, it's about the whole thing. Like, it's more like the holistic thing of making use of your class's skills and quirks so that it benefits the group in the best way possible. And be prepared with some consumables. Have healing pods on you, monitor your own health. Like, don't forget to look at your own health. There might be situations where the healer has to focus on the tank healing and you have to maybe part a health pod. Like, keep that in mind and don't just like mindlessly give your life to the healer's mercy, so to say, but like always still keep an eye on it yourself. And, you know, keep things like swiftness potions, bandages, if you're an engineer, dummies, maybe bombs, like these things that also in the open world can help you survive, also can help you survive in dungeon situations. If you're a mana user, make sure to drink whenever there's downtime. You know, like when the pull is over and you can drink a second, sit down and drink. You don't have to be completely to like drink your water. You know, make sure you have the best water with you that's possible so that you actually don't have to sit for like a long time, but that you get your mana back quicker. And now a little bit more specific. One of the most unfortunately hated classes in dungeons, DPS-wise, are hunters. This is due to two reasons. There are a lot of hunters that don't know how to control their pet. This is one of the first things you want to learn. Check out online, just Google for macros for hunters to like send out your pet and call it back. Like basically you want to have your pet on the passive mode where it just follows you around and you want to send it to each target directly. Don't just have do never have your pet on aggressive in a dungeon. And also not on protective. Like I would really keep it on passive and then send it out if needed. Be careful if you're a hunter with your multi-shot. There's so many times where hunters multi-shot and pull extra packs and the group gets overwhelmed. So be careful with that. And if there is a jump anywhere, take the time to dismiss your pet, jump, and then resummon the pet. Because if you don't do that, your pet might run around and pull like half the dungeon, and suddenly your group might wipe after having taken a little jump somewhere. So always make sure that you dismiss your pet before you do a jump. Then we have mages. There are some new players that are just like, hey, I want to play a mage, I'm going to play a fire mage. They do a lot of like big single target damage. The problem with that is you also pull a lot of aggro with that. So that's something to keep in mind. As a mage, you're really squishy and you deal a lot of damage. So there's a high chance you might pull threat from the tank. And also as a mage, most groups will get you in the group as a mage for your CCs as well. So that means on one hand the sheep and your nice little ice freeze to freeze enemies in place. I forgot the name right now. So ideally you're going to be a frost mage, and remember to keep on top of your things in that sense too. Rogues, remember to use your stuns. Especially on healers when they try to take off a heal, or on casters, or especially casters when they cast dangerous things like maybe putting someone to sleep or stuff like that. You can also try to stun runners if they maybe endanger running into like another pack of mobs, and use your distracts for patrols. If something goes wrong, don't panic. A lot of deaths happen because the group panics and, you know, maybe DPS start running away, although the tank is ready to fight it out with the group. Listen to what your tank says and does. If your tank is still there fighting, your healer is still there fighting, don't run away. Stay there, help them fight it out. It's a general rule. Obviously, it depends on the situation. I'm just trying to give general feedback for beginners in this case. Stay focused on your role. As I said earlier, remember the skills you have at your toolkit, and, you know, stay calm, act as if you would act in dangerous situations out in the world. And remember, survival is more important than the highest DPS meters, and keep an eye on your threat to stay alive. That's that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Is there anything that you maybe think I should have covered but that I forgot? Is there similar content you would like to see? If so, what would it be? And yeah, if you liked the video, please consider liking or subscribing. I also live stream WoW Hardcore, and I hope you have a beautiful day. See you around. Bye bye.